Moving on, Ms. Denise Poor.
Mr. Speaker, may I have your permission to take question number 6 and 7 on today's order paper together, please?
Please go ahead.
My response will also cover matters raised in the questions by Ms. Nadia Ahmad Samdin and Mr. Saktiandi Supaat, which are scheduled for a subsequent sitting. The government carefully monitors retail rents across Singapore. As shared recently by URA, median rents for retail spaces in historic districts of Kampong Glam, Little India, and Chinatown, including sublet arrangements, have increased at a moderate pace of around 2% per annum over the past 2 years. These increases were comparable with rental increases of conventional retail space in the central area and lower than nominal GDP growth over the same period. There has also been some interest about the recent closure of Warung Nasi Pariaman in Kampong Glam. It was reported in the media that a representative from the family recently clarified that the closure was not related to rental issues, and we should not wrongly conclude that this was due to high rental. That notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, like many Singaporeans, I am saddened by the sudden closure of this heritage business, and the agencies are in touch with Warung Nasi Pariaman to discuss how we can facilitate their continuation should they decide to do so. The government will continue to support our heritage businesses. The Interagency Task Force for Heritage Businesses, Traditional Activities and Cultural Life has also introduced new measures such as marketing and business consultancy support under the National Heritage Board's SG Heritage Business Scheme. This also includes enhanced place management support to better showcase the heritage trades and activities in each historic district.
Ms. Poor.
Thank you, SPS, Dr. Syed Harun. My first SQ was, may I ask the ministry to provide the source of data to say that the rental hike is comparable to the central district, and if the central district, which is really big, it's really the appropriate segment to compare those rentals with, and also to specify where the data says that a lot of these are lower, the rental hikes are lower than GDP growth. That's my first SQ. My second SQ is with Minister Fajal and myself, we work quite closely in, for example, Kampong Glam area. We know that the rental hikes is not an issue that is easily managed, and that there are different views and interests of different stakeholder groups like the tenants, the landlords, the public, and the heritage groups. Can Ministry advise how and when it will coordinate with the relevant agencies like MND, MTI, National Arts Council, National Heritage Board, URA, for instance, to, number one, identify what qualifies as heritage business. Number two is to list the different options available and being considered to balance the interests of the different stakeholder groups. Landlords, of course, want higher rates. Tenants want as low as possible. The heritage folks want the nature of heritage to be preserved. So, question for you, sir.
SBS Syed Harun.
I thank Ms. Denise Poor for her excuse. Indeed, when it comes to heritage businesses where there's so much character as well as value that it brings to society, when one closes, it really hits the heart quite strongly, especially for the specific communities relating to Kampong Glam, Chinatown, as well as Little India. The first question was relating to the source of the data. And the member alluded to the statement made by URA some days ago with regards to the moderate rental increases. Now, the majority of leases in Kampong Glam saw moderate rent increases below that of nominal GDP growth and comparable to the increases of conventional retail spaces in the central area. This is based on comprehensive rental records submitted for the stamp duty purposes. So this is where URA's data came from. And we understand that some of the data cited in some media reports may be based on anecdotal or incomplete data. and these may not be representative of the overall rental situation in Kampong Glam. We note that the rental might not be homogeneous across the entire district. As you've alluded to, the Kampong Glam district is actually quite big. And while the median rents of the historic shop houses in Kampong Glam increased at a moderate pace, there is also a small proportion between, for leases signed between 2023 and 2025, which did see higher rental increases of 25% or higher. In this particular aspect, these included leases in streets with high footfall, for example, in Kampong Glam specifically, such as Haji Lane and Bali Lane, and some of these leases were previously contracted at below market rates, and therefore, subsequent to that, they may have experienced a larger increase from their low base when the rates normalized towards the prevailing market rate subsequently. Notwithstanding the rental increases, their rental rates remained around 20 to 60% below that of conventional retail spaces in the central area as a whole. On to the second question by the member, with regards to the variety of views from the members of the public, from heritage groups. Indeed, there are a wide variety of stakeholders interested in preserving our heritage as well as culture. Specific to that, the member has already alluded to that there was the promulgation of the Interagency Task Force for Heritage Businesses, Traditional Activities and Cultural Life that brings together key agencies to develop policies and schemes to better support heritage businesses in historic districts. In October 2025, the National Heritage Board launched SG Heritage Business Scheme to recognize heritage businesses and encourage public appreciation of their cultural value. To date, 42 businesses have been designated under the scheme, including 21 in Kampong Glam and Chinatown. The NHB's Organization Transformation Grant also supports heritage businesses to adopt innovative projects for long-term viability. So we do recognize that it takes a whole of government approach spanning a few different ministries to be able to look at the heritage space. One aspect of it is with the Ministry of National Development, but we're also looking with MCCY, which looks at the NHB, the National Heritage Board, and certainly with URA. In parallel, URA works with local business associations to curate and support businesses that contribute to the place identity of such historic districts. It takes an entire village to be able to raise the awareness on heritage and its value for our society, and that is something that the government will continue to work towards. Thank you.
Mr. Fadli Fauzi.
Thank you, Speaker. I have 3 SQs. Firstly, in light of the sustained increase in shophouse transactions and prices over the past years, does the government have any plans to extend the ABSD and SSD to commercial properties in heritage districts, considering their limited supply and heritage value? My second SQ is, will the government consider changing the way property tax is calculated for commercial purposes in heritage districts to incentivize or reward landlords who reduce the rents for their tenants and or take steps to retain the character of their heritage district? My third question is, I refer to my written question, number 66 of on the order paper. I asked about the number of shop houses in Kampong Glam that are on Wakaf land. I want to ask whether MND has any plans to work with Waris Investments to protect the cultural identity and historical value of such shop houses, and if not, why not?
SBS Syed Harun.
I thank the member for his 3 supplementary questions. The first in relation to plans for ABSD or property tax changes to commercial property. There are no current plans that the ministry has with regards to these 2 steps. With regards to the question on Wakaf land and shop houses within, I believe that is not within the remit of the questions that I'll be answering for this set of parliamentary questions. Thank you.
Ms. Nadia Samdin.
Terima kasih Tuan Speaker dan juga kepada SBS atas penjelasannya. Saya ingin tambahkan 2 SQ. Jika saya tak silap, memang sudah dapat panduan perancangan jenis aktiviti dan penggunaan premis di kawasan paling berhampiran dengan Masjid Sultan. Adakah pihak pemerintah akan mempertimbangkan untuk mengajikan sama ada liputan kawasan tersebut wajar untuk diperluaskan ke bahagian lain di kawasan Kampong Glam bagi memastikan kesesuaian aktiviti perniagaan dengan nilai warisan budaya dan fungsi komuniti setempat serta menggalakkan aktiviti yang sesuai untuk memupuk semangat keusahawan tempatan. And the second one in English, please. SPS, in addition, heritage districts such as Kampong Glam often function not only as conserved heritage spaces, but also as natural entry platforms for culturally rooted and community-based enterprises because they offer visibility, clustering effects, and market access that support early brand formation. And I'm sure many agree that there's been younger brands who have grown in KG, which introduce local flavors to the community and also to tourists. Has the government considered whether conservation and place management approaches could also incorporate elements of business incubation and structured tenant mix to encourage some of these younger businesses? Thank you very much.
SBS Syed Harun.
I thank the member for her 2 supplementary questions. With permission, I will answer both in English, even though I understood quite clearly the first question in Malay. With regards to the member's question on ensuring the appropriateness of the activity within the heritage district, her first question, and wanting to be able to strengthen the businesses there in keeping with the intent of the heritage districts, I wish to reassure the member that to safeguard the vibrancy of our historic districts, whether they be Kampong Glam, Chinatown, as well as Little India, the URA has put in place controls to exclude non-heritage users, such as fast food restaurants, supermarkets, and new bars, even to the extent of ensuring the number of souvenir shops are maintained by a certain measure from the core areas of these historic districts. This helps to shape the tenant mix that aligns with the district's historic character as well as unique identity. In terms of potential expansion of the space, I think the current delineation of the districts are actually also related to its historical significance to the community there. But I think that is something we can take back and see whether the borders of the district or certainly the activities within the district can be further expanded and enhanced. And that is certainly the intent, to be able to enrich and enliven the activities there. The member's second question with regards to it being a natural entry platform and clustering access, especially for younger brands. I was at Kampong Glam over the weekend where there was the Urban Arts Festival, and certainly there is actually also a very thriving youth community there. I wish to reassure the member that the work continues through the work of the Interagency Task Force, where therein lies a very close partnership between, for example, in the upcoming Ramadan Bazaar, between URA as well as Kampong Glam Alliance. Also, at the same time, you see similar patterns in the Heritage District of Chinatown, where you find that the local communities there, including the People's Association as well as the CCC management, engaging the trade associations to be able to then promulgate the Chinese New Year festive fair for this year. So you see that the partnership is not only on account of the government alone, but also together with the ground, including the businesses, the trade associations, as well as the relevant alliances within the heritage districts, and also the natural organic community that arises from the different districts to make sure that our heritage districts continue to be protected and preserved, especially given the deep value that they have for our communities. Thank you.
Last SQ, Mr. Saktiandi Supat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Do not want to belabor the point that was raised earlier by earlier members about the support for heritage-linked SMEs to balance between sustainability and market forces. And it's especially so with the closure of Pariaman, because a lot in the Malay community is very sad to hear about the closure of Pariaman. Many of us go there over the past decade. So it's a multi-year F&B businesses such as those in the area being affected, which affects some of those in the Malay community. So my question is, Mr. Speaker, beyond this, I think SPS mentioned about Kampong Glam Alliance. My main question is, in terms of support for businesses, not just F&B businesses around the Sultan Mosque area, but also in general heritage businesses. But in particular, for example, around the Sultan Mosque, some of the non-F&B businesses around the area provides a distinctive feel to the area around the Sultan Mosque. My question is whether there will be further support going forward to work with Kampong Glam Alliance or other alliances for that matter in other heritage areas, and possibly with SME centres to make sure that we find out the issues that they face, whether it's non-rental or rental or manpower issues, so that they can be addressed before they face issues beforehand, and whether there can be more proactive action to be done together with the government and non-governmental sort of consulting services to help them before they reach a situation where there was no turning back, and so that we can maintain the distinctive feel of those businesses. Thank you.
SBS, Dr. Syed Harun.
I thank the member for his supplementary question, as well as his deep concern over the SMEs within the area, specifically Kampong Glam. As I mentioned in my PQ reply, certainly it's within the scope and attention of the Interagency Task Force for Heritage Businesses, Traditional Activities and Cultural Life to be able to further amalgamate the interests, concerns of the diverse stakeholders already mentioned by Ms. Denise Poa earlier, to be able to understand and see how best we can move forward. It takes beyond government to be able to find some of the solutions, as well as navigate through the different challenges and interests of the different stakeholders. And certainly, as alluded to by the member earlier, that we will be looking towards wanting to partner the different alliances, the different stakeholders to be able to find the most suitable outcome moving forward for our businesses. To that end, I would also stretch it further beyond the aspects of costs. Through the work of the SG Heritage Business Scheme, they've also looked at how to uplift the businesses, specifically the designated heritage businesses, in terms of marketing as well as consulting support. And we've been working, and the bazaar is one such example that's coming up, towards ensuring that the space is well and alive, where people congregate, come, and also support the local businesses as well. It continues to be a work in progress. It continues to be on the stakeholders to be able to guide and support our businesses in turn, so that the heritage businesses can continue to flourish in the relevant districts. Thank you.